We will come to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. Beautiful day, and we'll start with a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we'll start with approval of minutes from March 21st, April 11th, and April 13th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Motion is second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Well, we have three presentations tonight, one retirement and two proclamations. So I'm going to start off with asking Travis Wilmot to come forward, and we're going to talk about his retirement. Your retirement. From your first job.
Yeah.
From your first.
The other one I can't get away from. You want me to be talking to a microphone.
Yes, we do, Travis. All right. Travis Wilmot has been with the city for 31 years. He started at the cemetery, and that was for 3 years, correct?
Yep, 3 years.
Then we started the building and grounds department, and he was there the whole time. And we worked together for 26 years now. So, shall I tell you some of the stories I have about you, or just let it go?
You can do what you want, brother. I am no longer employed here. We can I should not get fired.
Before you wouldn't either, but no, I just want to say that this is the backbone of our city. With people like this that work day in and day out, doing whatever they have to do to make sure that our city runs. I just want for all of us to have a solid round of applause and stand and say thank you, Travis. Tell us just a little bit about your 31 years with the city.
I started, like you said, I started out at Oakwood Cemetery, then Building and Grounds was formed, and I was moved to the building side, the ground side on that over there with Steve Cromer, and we did a lot of different things. Building and Grounds covers a whole lot of ground that people don't understand. It's putting playgrounds together to cleaning the pool deck and cleaning stairwells at the parking deck also. We're not going to go that far, but you get the high and the low end of everything.
So that was not one of your favorite jobs?
No, it was not. It's one of those that, nah.
Well, we would see you everywhere. So again, from all of us, thank you so much for your service.
You're welcome.
Who do you have here?
I have my wife, Paula.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, but again, just we have a plaque here for your 31 years of faithful loyal service.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, again. there's hundreds of them, but 20 decided to be here today. Go ahead. I'm going to read the proclamation. We're all here together, and you have a good shot of us. That's good. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founded 110 years ago on the principles of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action. Whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has a rich history of social activism and has been on the forefront of addressing issues that impact public policy and social justice for 110 years. Whereas the Concord alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was chartered on April 27, 1991 in the Kitty M. Sampson Chapel on the campus of Barbara Scotia College, and continues to uphold the legacy of its founders and remains committed to promoting political awareness activism within the community. And whereas the Concord alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has demonstrated its commitment to increasing knowledge in current local and national issues, encouraging active participation in political activity. Therefore, I, William C. Dush, Mayor of City of Council, along with the Mayor of City of Concord, along with City Council, hereby proclaim May 6, 2023 as Social Action Day in honor of the Concord alumni chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. And we commend the chapter for its tireless efforts to cultivate personal relationships with the community power structure by joining and volunteering in civic and social action organizations, and to advocate for policies of particular interest to the African American and women. We urge all residents of the City of Concord to join in the recognizing of the Concord alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and their dedication to promoting social action and community service. We encourage everyone to take action in their community and work towards creating a better future for all. So I just want to thank you for all that you do and continue to do. And next time, could you get a few more of your members here? If I could just stand back here with you. Thank you very much. Betty, that was LMA sorority also. And just so you'll know, our previous councilwoman, LMA Small, this was her sorority also. So. All right, our final presentation of the evening is for the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Whereas National Asian Pacific Heritage Month is an occasion to recognize the achievements and historic and history of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders across our nation. Whereas this year's theme is Advancing Leaders Through Opportunity, established by the Federal Asian Pacific American Council, and special focus on the government and public sector highlights how opportunity and possibilities that stem from the opportunities of the cornerstone of our nation's history. Whereas American history brims with the stories of Asian Pacific Americans born here and abroad and forever changed their community and our country. Whereas millions of Asian American, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders live in the United States today and make America a more prosperous and vibrant nation for their actions. Now, therefore, I, Mayor William C. Dush, Mayor of Concord and Concord City Council, do hereby offer this proclamation in honor of the month of May being recognized as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. So we'll put this in our record, and we'll make sure that you all know that that's happening. We also have some special guests here today. If you're from the Concord Youth Council, can you please stand up? Oh, very good. All right. Now, these individuals are from various schools, so I would like to start at the front and have you state your name and your school and your grade, if you could. Okay. Well, let's hear it again, and thank you for being here tonight. Do we have any scouts here tonight? Okay, very good. Now we're moving to, let's see, do we have departmental reports? We have a downtown streetscape update. Something going on downtown?
Give you an update on what we've completed. So the 42-inch storm drain that starts at Market Street and goes up Barbrick to Union has been complete. And then they worked on 36-inch storm drain from that point across Union Street, which you can actually see a little bit on the two pictures on the left. Once they reached the historic courthouse, they started working in the sidewalk, which is on the right picture, in front of the existing courthouse, and doing storm drainage there. They've completed that portion of the work. And they also did the pressure test on the new main water line that's been put in place in this work zone. They are currently continuing storm drainage, but now they're working kind of from the big tree toward the mid-block crosswalk, and also looking to work on connecting the new water main to the existing line at the Corbin Avenue intersection. And that work will kind of continue through the next few weeks. Following the completion of those two items, then they'll start working on the new water services, which I've told you about for the past couple months, but those are coming after they get the new water main connected. And again, the contractor will work with the businesses to minimize the impact. You know, if it's a restaurant, they won't do it in the middle of their working hours. So we have a couple drone images. These were just taken on Wednesday, and I wanted to point out a couple items. So you can see the orange, sort of, we're calling it mid-block crossing in the middle of the construction fence, and they've done that in a couple areas to allow pedestrians to continue to move through the construction zone without having to go all the way around the 600 linear feet or, of fence. They've also accommodated all the other construction happening in downtown. So the courthouse, you can't see it, but that would be on the left, and then the PM Morris building that you might be familiar with that's being under construction. This photo actually shows the delivery of their elevator that was happening on Wednesday. So they've opened the work zone to allow for some of that movement during construction. And then this is just another shot. You can see also all the apartment projects underway. Let's see. So just a reminder of where the current work zone is, again, from the mid-block to Corbin. That work that is happening in the Corbin Avenue intersection will affect traffic a little bit, but they'll still remain open for through traffic. They'll just have control measures in place. And moving forward, we'll see the construction fencing kind of overlapping in that middle area where you see the shaded blue, but extending to Cabarrus. We anticipate this to happen toward the end of June, early July, and I'm sure I'll have an update for you next month on better time frame for that. Don't have a time frame for when they'll get to this point, but following the work in the Cabarrus Avenue intersection, which will be similar to Corbin, they'll leave the through traffic going with traffic control measures, and then they'll move the construction fencing to Killarney and Cabarrus. Just want to reiterate, the project will kind of come back down to the Corbin area and move through once more for more of the surface level work after they get the utilities in. And then a reminder that we are constantly updating the website every week, along with the social media posts on the downtown sites and the city's websites, and always the parking information. The map is updated monthly. No big changes since our work zone's the same, but we will start changing some of the on-street parking counts and different things as they need to be adjusted. And with that, I will pass it over to Paige.
Thank you, Kaylee. We are continuing to activate downtown during this construction process. Some of the ways that we're doing that are through these events that you can see here on the presentation. We're continuing with this First Friday event. This is a retail-driven event to extend hours for retail so people can come downtown. They're going to dinner. They can also shop as well. That's the first Friday of the month. We are rolling out a new event called Social Saturday. The first one will be May 20th. Please come out to downtown. We are utilizing the space that is currently semi-open on Union Street in between Cabarrus Avenue and the construction fencing. With that, we're going to bring in some really great farm tables, high tops, regular tables. We'll have some live music down by Mullis Music, who is providing us power so that our musicians can be heard. And then we'll also have a vendor called Gather and Cheers tap truck, and they will have some Prosecco and mimosas available. So please come out. This event is designed to not compete with the existing businesses that we have, but provide an opportunity for people to come down, experience, and then grab dinner or grab some food, shop a little bit while you're there, and then continue that entertainment into the later evening with the venues that will have live music in downtown. An event that we are working on and still putting some details around is Christmas in July. This is a little bit more of a retail-focused event, but restaurants, those folks can get involved as well, offering specials. The summer can be a downtime for retail and shopping, so just some fun ways to liven that up with some Christmas themes, Christmas music, things like that. September is Construction Month, National Construction Month, so what better time to celebrate all of the construction in downtown with a fun scavenger hunt. We've got some cute little construction cars or construction toys, and we'll find some fun ways that people can identify those and just, again, play off of what's happening in downtown. And did want to note that the courthouse ribbon cutting is scheduled for May 31st at 10:30 a.m. So those of you who haven't seen that date come out yet, join the county for that event. And again, we are still continuing forward with Art Walk on Union on June 24th. We anticipate that the construction will allow for us to have that similar footprint that we planned to have for the previous Art Walk. We're monitoring that closely, so if that changes, we'll have to adjust as needed. But the way things are going, I think that we will be set to be in this area. We've got some fun things coming out. We've got a really great swag bag. This is something that we will provide to businesses. So during some of these events, we'll have them get a collection of bags. We'll decide how many, and then they can provide those to their customers as they come in, their first 15 or 20 customers, and then we'll have those sprinkled throughout these events. So you'll start seeing those out and about on people's shoulders soon. And then some great flyers. Some people use them as a fan. Some people use them for their dog or a Frisbee. But those we can give out at things like Art Walk and other things to really get that streetscape brand out there, really let people know what's going on and just add some interest to it. Social media promotions, Cherie Allen, our downtown development coordinator, has been doing a wonderful job with our social media promotions. So you've seen our Feature Fridays continue to roll out, highlighting different businesses. Again, this is something that all businesses have an opportunity to participate in. They can get with Cherie, and we will do an interview and post that feature. And the businesses have seemed to really enjoy that. Again, of course, driving people into town, identifying things that are available for things like Mother's Day, shopping, brunch, things like that. And with that, with all of her work on that, Hannah Get from SOC TV actually saw one of the reels that Cherie posted about not letting construction stop you from coming downtown. So she came out and did a story last week. It was a very positive story. Some of our businesses were in the news special as well. So please, if you haven't seen that, you can check that out online. But it's really great to have that positive commentary. And we will be having our next merchant meeting on June 19th. This is an opportunity available to the business owners, managers, employees, and property owners to come out, get this similar kind of update from us in person. We, of course, send them a lot of this information electronically through email, but again, they can come out in person. We will have updates on the streetscape, downtown events, resources from staff to business, and also opportunities to discuss ideas and get feedback from the businesses and property owners in that setting. And we will do that every other month. Any questions?
Well, thank you for all you're doing to try to keep it alive downtown.
Thank
Very
you.
important for that. Question from council? All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to recognitions of persons to be heard. Our time to recognize persons to be heard on the agenda is an opportunity to hear from anyone wishing to speak. Excuse me. This is time to listening by council. The subject will be noted, and if required action or request, the city manager will note of such and provide steps for any required response or after action. Please leave your contact details with the city clerk to facilitate the communication. Tonight, I only have, I believe, one person. No. You'll have to forgive me here. I have misplaced my list of it. Well, then I'll ask who has signed up to speak. Well, come up forward. I have you here somewhere, but we have many public hearings tonight, and I just sort of got it crossed up here. Thank you for being here.
Welcome. Thank you for letting me come. My name is Suzanne Morris, and sorry for this. I live at 172 Pitt School Road in Concord. I'm accompanied here tonight by my husband, Robert Morris, and they were sitting beside me, my sister-in-law, Karen, and Eddie Morris, and my nephew is here tonight, Kevin Morris. And we just need a chance to be able to be in front of all of you. I know we've talked with a couple of you. Some of you may know us. But at any rate, Mr. Mayor, we would like to speak to everybody on behalf of my family. We actually are all born and raised in Cabarrus County and raised our children here, and they've been to school here, and some still live here and work here. Our home, my husband and our home is a little house that sits right in the middle of property that is surrounded by the landfill, the Charlotte Motor Speedway, about 400 apartment homes, J.N. Robinson High School, and a very large Walmart market shopping center that has become very, very, very successful, thankfully. I'm here tonight to just put a face with a name for what we are asking for you to consider a sewer commitment. There's a project that's been out for some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have seen it, but I wanted you all to know that the Morris family has owned that family farm between the Walmart and Robinson High School for generations. And we were there before all of that around us happened. But we really have tried to be good citizens. We've tried to be good neighbors. We did get annexed into the city when there was expansion to take in the Speedway. We've also worked with the city over the years. We have 2 power easements that go across the property. We have a sewer easement actually that goes across our property. And we love our city and we want to support the vision that you all have. But it has been a huge challenge for us to try to get to sell our property. We originally started with, based on the 2030 land use plan, where the plan was for multi-use. And the planning staff could tell you how many iterations of a project there have been with our buyer since that time, but a lot. A lot has changed. So a lot has changed around us, but I realize too, I'm respectful of the changes and challenges that you all have. But finally, we are in a place now today where we felt like we are where you all wanted us to be, where Paige Castrodale, who also has been involved with economic development, what she needs.
Can you hold for one minute? We have a lot of people speak that would like
Okay.
to speak, but
Okay.
I'm going to ask council if they can grant some more time. So please,
Thank you.
continue.
Just one more minute, please.
That's fine, that's fine.
So again, we have, again, had a significant pivot to preserve what everyone advised is, we need the industrial property. A policy now has become in place, which we understand all this. But in order for our buyer to continue to move, he has now partnered with Tribeck, with Scott Borch, with Tribeck, was very successful in our area. And, sorry. We think that this is a good partnership. We think that the opportunity there for what you all want and what you all need at least would give us some consideration to have a sewer commitment. So this has been for us a long 5 years. And, you know, we've lived here a long, long time. We're in our 70s. We're retired. We're good. So thank you for your time. Again, we're very respectful of your challenges, of the time and energy. We appreciate your commitment. John Sweat is our representative. It's been awesome. Paige Castrodale, also awesome. And I just thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming tonight. Anyone else would like to speak? All right, if you'll come forward and state your name, and again, as we will listen, if you need to get back, we will. And if you would, state your name since I must have eaten this.
I was not aware of the sign-up, so I'm not on your sheet. My name is Greg Sharding. I have lived in my wife and I have lived in Concord, moved here from Raleigh, August 1st, 1998. So this August, it'll be 25 years.
And sir, what is your address?
60 Blenheim Court, Northeast, 28025.
Okay, thank you.
And the reason I wanted to speak is in regard to the Browns property, 226 Burridge Road. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, you couldn't have had nicer neighbors. I considered not only them, but their 3 children, friends, had a great, you couldn't have nicer neighbors. But my concern is
Just to be clear, this is open to speak about anything, but
Okay.
there's also a section here that you might be better when we get to that item.
so I just need to excuse myself.
Yeah, and if,
Okay.
here it is, this is
Yeah, I didn't know your protocol, so I apologize.
Burge Road is,
Yeah, it's a little bit down the list.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
Definitely
So
understand.
Please, come back at that
my
time.
apologies.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to make comments? With that said, we will move on. We're moving to public hearings. Need a motion for council to open the public hearing, first public hearing pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158.7.1.
So move, Mayor.
Motion second, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, thank you very much. So I have one person signed up to speak. Kyle Hoyt, is that right? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Kyle Hoyt. I am a civil engineer for Old Dominion Freight Line. I'm here with Michael Driggs with Old Dominion Freight Line. I was here 2 or 3 months ago to give some information about our project. I'm back again and just offering to answer any questions that any council member or you, Mr. Mayor, may have tonight. This is a very important project to us. We are looking forward to an opportunity to deliver a successful project for Old Dominion in the city of Concord, and we appreciate your time and consideration of our request tonight.
All right. Thank you. Any questions from council? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no one else signed up. Is there anybody that would like to speak about this item? No one else wants to speak about this item, so I'm motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, raise your hand. Back to council for recommendation.
Mayor, if I could go ahead and offer a motion. If it's seconded, I'd like to come back to me for an explanation of the motion. But I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we deny this request.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and second discussion.
So if I could, I think it's well known how much I support jobs, economic development, and diverse tax base in the city of Concord. I also am very protective of our heavy industrial land, our I-2 land, which this is on. I understand this is a permitted use, a little bit unclear why. But in this particular case, the reason I'm offering that motion is that I do not believe this project rises to the level of an economic incentive grant. The investment is minimal for 40 acres of very, very important land for the city. So I offer that. And this is very, very difficult for me because, again, I do support almost everything. And I'm not in any way anti-trucking. Trucking moves this country. I well know that. And it's needed. It's just doesn't rise to the level of a grant. And it's just in not a very good place for the city.
Mayor, if I may
Yes,
make
go ahead.
a comment as well. Yeah, I too, like JC, am in no means against logistics and trucking. My grandfather drove for Roadway retired from Roadway. He was 1- and 2-day driver, trip. And but when I came on council 8 years ago, one of the things that I noticed, we were giving incentives to some businesses that, we had a lot of discussion as to how we wanted to change which businesses we would give incentives to. And I feel like at that time, a lot of the distribution was coming here anyway. So we decided that that's not a reason to incite someone to come here. Again, I have nothing against that, but I just feel like also that I just think it's not the maximum use of that much land either. So that's kind of where I feel this way about that. So.
Right, any more comments?
I'll make a comment. I respectfully disagree, I guess, from a perspective of just it does meet the criteria, right? So just from a standpoint of what the criteria is, it does meet that criteria. From a standpoint of feeling like it's incentivized or not. So just I kind of wanted to be clear on that difference. From a perspective, it meets our wage requirements and all those things. I guess coming a little bit from the opposite side of feeling like the landowner right of them being able to, if that's the decision that they're making to have this business there. So just respectfully agree with that and disagree as well. So my vote will reflect that.
one more thing. Yeah, Jennifer, I agree. They have 100% right to go on that land. I'm all for it. Like if they want to, but I don't want to give them an incentive to do so. So that's kind of where I am on that. One other thing about that is I feel like most distribution should be closer to the interstate. You know, if you look at a map of the geographical center of Concord, the grounds at Concord are right in the geographical center. And the volume of trucks that would come in and out of there, although there's a good corridor of George Lyles to move that volume, I just feel like the spirit of what we create incentives for is not met here, in my opinion. And I think there's also probably some, I'll just leave it at that. So that's why I'm voting the way I want to vote.
John?
Yeah, I also have a, disagreement with the previous speakers as far as that, Brian and JC, not with you personally, but with that. Coming from a supply chain and warehousing background for over 25 years, this is much needed in that area. This will be a great complement to the other industry that's coming into that site. And Old Dominion has always been a good steward of their where they're at, the community, and the business relationships they've had. So my vote will reflect the same way.
Any other comments?
I guess I'll just jump in as well, but I'll jump in with the fact that, and I would duly respect everybody's comments on this. I am going to be in JC's camp on this, and primarily for the same reason that I don't think it is, although it meets the criteria, I just don't think it hits the numbers or checks all the boxes for a incentive. So just leave it at that.
Any more comments? Okay. That said, we're ready to vote to not approve this. Is all in favor of not approving this, please raise your hand. And those for it, against it? Okay, so it passes 4-3. Is there anything different about this? This is how it is, so. Okay, so therefore, the incentive request is not approved. That's where we stand. Okay. We'll move on to item 2. Is there a motion to open a public hearing and conduct a public hearing pursuant of NC General Statute 158.7.1 to consider granting a 3-year 85% tax-based credit?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. All right. On that one, I have no one signed up to speak. Is anyone like to speak for or against this item? There is no one here to speak for or against. A motion to close the public hearing. A motion is second. All in favor, raise your hand. Back to council for a recommendation.
I move to approve.
Mayor, I'll second that.
We have a motion is second. Any discussion? There being no discussion, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. This is approved. Item number 3, I need a motion to open a public hearing on public hearing to approve the submission of fiscal year 23-24 action plan.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion is second. Ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. All right. I have no one signed up for or against it. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak about this item? There's no one here to speak about the items. Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mayor. Second.
A motion is second. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, anyone to speak about this item? There's no discussion. Ready to, we need a motion.
Move for approval.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion is second. You ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. All right, thank you. Item number 4. Conduct a public hearing, consider adopting ordinance annexing 278.58 acres. Need a motion to open the public hearing?
So, second.
The motion is second. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, I have one person signed up to speak for this, Dylan Reinhardt. Would you come forward? Welcome.
Hi there. My name is Dylan Reinhardt. I live at 6160 Breezy Lane. How am I trying to say here? My dad was raised probably 2 blocks down from my house, the very last house on Breezy Lane. And when his parents moved away, they gave us that land that I'm currently living on. Lived there my entire life. I'm just wondering what is this sewer plant doing annexing? I don't care about the rest of it. It's just that 10 acres right next to my partial land. I'm just wondering what they're trying to do with that.
Okay.
And I've hunted, my neighbors have hunted, I know employees of the city have hunted in that valley next to my house for 30 years. And when it becomes city land, that's going to go away. But what will become for shooting on the property and just all around recreation activities?
Okay. We will have to ask that question to our
I don't know who
to
to
our
ask.
applicant, because I mean, this is the county, Wawasak asking to be annexed, so we will have to ask that question.
Is the land that you're talking about, is it the land that Wasack owns, or is that your property? I'm a little bit confused. I just want to make sure.
It's, up until about 2 days ago, I thought I owned that 10 acres. But it turns out my father sold it 20 years ago and then passed about
Okay.
a year later. I didn't know about it.
Okay, okay. So it's Wasack-owned land, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Is that right, Steve? Do you know? We don't know. Okay.
No,
I think the difference in the answer of the question would be different, and that's why I just want to make sure we understand the question.
yeah,
It is Wasack's land.
yeah.
We could ask William Eisenhower to come forward.
Yeah.
William Eisenhower, 1065 East Moorhead Street, Charlotte, North Carolina. I am counsel to Wasack, and so just about what we're doing there, we're not changing the use. It is a treatment plant now, and it'll be a treatment plant in the future. Right now, we are in the county, and we're just wanting to get annexed into the city of Concord. It shouldn't affect your property. Obviously, our 278 acres is private property, so we would not allow hunting on that property, but it should not affect what you do on your property.
That's all I was wondering.
All right.
William, would it help you to have a map?
Sure, that way you could point out where he lives.
Oh,
We have a map.
That top left large parcel just above, I don't know, there's some kind of, yeah, right between Simplicity and Breezy, like that corner.
I need a pointer, but it's like the one at the top, right?
Yes, that's fine.
Very good.
A longer
With the
arm.
square in the middle.
With a square in the middle.
Yes, that's my partial land.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that's all I was wondering.
thank you for being here. I hope that answered your
Not over
question.
yet.
William?
Any more questions?
Yeah, Bill,
Yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
this slipped right by me Tuesday night. OI is pretty broad. I mean, Mr. Eisenhower, I know it's a sewer plant, but OI has a lot of permitted uses in it. Should we consider a tighter zoning? I have no problem with the annexation, but, I mean, it's got multifamily, it's got a lot of stuff in it. I know I don't think you're gonna build an apartment next to a sludge pond, but I'm just asking a question.
The zoning will come at a later date. This is purely annexation.
It's in the agenda item.
Well, tonight is just the annexation. We
Annexation.
will have a planning and zoning meeting in June.
Yeah.
So it's got to go to P and Z.
That's right. It will go to P and Z next. So this is just for the annexation.
I think
I can
that
tell
you're
you
just
that
putting
zoning
that in.
was recommended by city staff.
So I would just add, my opinion is it needs to be a conditional that keeps it to your business only, would be my thoughts. Got planning and zoning.
All right, we'll talk about that between now and planning and zoning meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, William. Appreciate that. All right. Anyone else would like to speak about this item? Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
We got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Back to council for recommendation.
Mayor, we move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? No discussion, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 5, conduct a public hearing and consider adopting an ordinance annexing 22.4 acres. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
All right, motion ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's where we are now. So first, I'm going to have William Nibelak. He signed up first, and then you'll be second.
Good evening. I'm William Niblock. I live at 4,000 Poplar Tent Road. My company, Niblock Homes, is contracted to purchase this property from the Brown family. The Brown family has owned it for years and years. The front part of the property has been in the city for, I don't know how long, decades. The back 22 acres is what they are wanting to bring into the city. Our plans would be to do a 25-lot subdivision. They would be large lots, 100-plus foot of road frontage, approximately half-acre lots on about 13 acres of the property. So about half the property would be left in common open space, either in tree save or if it's in floodplain. There are no homes that we're proposing that would front onto Burridge Road. They would all front internally. The homes would be priced, I would imagine, averaging around $800,000. I don't think there'd be anything less than the 700s, and start there and go up. We'll probably be targeting a lot of the medical community with the proximity of the hospital. It would be a project very similar to what we did off Bridlewood, Overbrook Manor. We weren't the developer of that project, but we ended up buying the lots and building the homes in Overbrook Manor, and that's the similar type products that we're talking about. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any question from council? Okay, thank you, William. All right, Greg. Now is your time.
Thank you, sir. Mayor and City Council, I apologize for the error earlier. Again, my name is Greg Sharding. I live on 60 Blenheim Court Northeast at the end of the cul-de-sac that abuts the Browns property. Have lived there since August 1st of 1998. My wife and I, and Mr. and Mrs. Brown, God rest their soul, were just wonderful neighbors. And I certainly hope, and we were friends, all of us, including their children, Jean, John, and Ann. And I certainly wish them the best in profiting from the unfortunate fact that they're selling the property because they can't afford the taxes. John stayed with his father right until his father's passing. In any event, having lived here since August 1 of 98, I recall Mrs. Brown, she was a school teacher here in town. She said, now you're new to the area. She said, Burridge is a very dangerous road. It's very curvy. And it wasn't about a month later that somebody decided to take their Porsche, which is a 35-mile-an-hour road its entire length, and they hit a telephone pole on the Brown's property, went up a guy wire and totaled a Porsche. Yeah, so that was 24 years ago. So, you know, growth has to occur, taxes have to occur. It's always, you know, the profit that's what we're looking for. But I have some real concerns. I mean, there was an accident on Burridge Road within the last 12 months where a lady broke both of her legs. And I know we have traffic signs up for speed there, but I assure you, I'm retired from a motor vehicle manufacturer. 2 broken legs, somebody was going well over 35 miles an hour. So in any event, I'm concerned about the traffic. That is a major corridor for everybody from, or a great deal of Atrium Health people and all the affiliates and associates and spin-offs of that. It's also an alternate to Branchview as well. But my concern is how much more traffic. And, you know, homecoming at Concord High School, you've got a high school there with high school children. Just seems that, you know, how much more can we put on a small country road that is 35 miles an hour? And if any of you travel that and you go 35 miles an hour, you'll make people angry, to be quite frank with you. But when you consider 25 more homes in the $800 to $1 million range, you're looking at folks that probably have 2 to 3 vehicles, so you're looking at 50 to 75 vehicles. Take the modern world where we have Amazon, we have UPS, we have FedEx, We have people delivering groceries. We have pharmacies delivering groceries. I mean, how much can that little road take? And I know it started out with one home on 217 Burridge, but that's all I wanted to say is it just seems like, you know, how much can you put? You know, we all know the story of the 5-pound bag. How much can you put in a 5-pound bag before it bursts?
Thank you very much.
And I thank you for your time.
Sure. Anyone else like to speak in regards to this item? Please come forward. State your name and your address, please.
My name is Jeffrey Blankenship. I live at 402 Burridge Road. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for the time. As you may or may not remember, about a year and a half ago, I approached the council here to have our property, which we bought from Miss Nancy Burridge, who the road family name is named after. We purchased 18 acres from Miss Burridge, which is adjacent to the subject property. And we had the zoning change from RM1 back to RL. And our reason for doing that, and the reason for the council approving that, was to preserve the agricultural area. We are in the, have reintroduced animals back onto the property. As many of you know, the Burridge family supplied the Cabarrus Creamery over the past 50-plus years of creamery. So I don't have a problem with progress, and if you are to have a neighbor, I would certainly welcome the Nieblocks to build a property next to ours. They build beautiful homes, and this is not to be adversarial at all, but just concerns about the density of the future expansion, whether it's this neighborhood or other neighborhoods, recreational use of the property, and just wanting to be aware of future expansion, and we want to be good neighbors and work with the community, especially small businesses. My wife and I both have small businesses of our own, and I appreciate what the Niblock family has done, and also want to work with the city. So if we can be of help in any way to help with the growth, but also do it in a way that's beneficial to the existing neighbors, to preserve the historic farmland of the Burridge family, and also to just help progress and provide. My wife is a physician, so I can appreciate providing homes for those that work at Atrium. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, back to council. There's a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, so moved.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, raise your hand. Back to council for a recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, this is around the corner from my house. I would move that we approve this.
Mayor, I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing, if you've watched some of our council meetings over the past, I don't know, 8 years or so, there's a lot of pressures, and we've been very slow to annex new properties for residential. And I wanted to kind of explain, because in the past we've generally said no for sprawl, because we've got a large footprint as is. So we've been trying to really work on some infill. But one of the things that makes this different, and I just kind of want to explain this, is that, about a third of the property is already in the city. And I think the reason why I would agree with Andy is that, it's an inventory of the type of homes that we need in this community right now. We've done a lot of building on the affordable side, but on the other hand, we do have a need for executive housing. And I think a lot of the jobs that we're bringing in, we need to have a place for those folks to live as well. So I think that, I was talking to one of the guys that lives on Burridge that grew up there. My brother used to go back there and shoot guns down there on Coldwater Creek back there, and they're very sentimental about that. But I talked to him and I said, this is probably the lesser of all the supposed evils. Not that you're evil, but you know what I mean. It's a very good project, and I just kind of wanted to explain why generally we would not be annexing new property, but the fact that a third of it's already in the city, and I think it's not a real high dense project, and it provides an inventory of homes that we do not have. So I would be absolutely in favor of that. So I'll second that, Andy.
Okay. or third, and yeah, you got it. Any other comments? All right.
I'll ditto really what Brian said, and the infill piece of it. I know, William, the style of home that you build, and I completely agree. You know, being in the real estate industry, we have to make sure, as Andy and I were talking yesterday, that the fabric of this community provides living options for everyone, and we're seeing more of that. So I do think this is actually the least amount of impact that we could see on that property, and that's kind of my third option, or my third thought on that as well, and be supporting it too. So thank you.
All right, we're ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. All right, unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, number 6, conduct a public hearing, consider adopting ordinance amending Article 7. A motion to open the public hearing. Second. We have a motion and a second. Let's see. I don't think I have anyone signed up for that. Is there anyone to sign up to speak in regards to this item? Okay. Okay, but it's somewhere in here, but I don't have anybody signed up for it. So there's a motion to close public hearing. Okay, vote to open. Now I'll ask the question again. Anyone here to speak in regards to this item? No one wants to speak? Motion to close the public hearing. Motion is second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Back to council for.
Mayor, I move we approve this.
Sir,
We gotta
you
go.
gotta adopt your statement of
Statement of
reasonable consistency
Yeah.
first.
Can't go there yet, JC.
I was about to do that. Madam Counselor, I move that we adopt the statement of reasonableness and consistency.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Now, Valerie, what's the next thing we do?
The next thing would be to approve the text amendment.
And Mayor, I'm not going to read it. I move that we approve the text amendment as on the screen.
Very good. I'll second that. A motion and a second. We ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. So that passes unanimously. We move on to item number 7. Conduct a public hearing considering adopting an ordinance amending Article 8, another amendment. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll move, Mayor. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ready to vote to open the public hearing. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Have no one signed up for or against this? Is there anyone like to speak in regards to this item? There's no one wanting to speak in regards to this item. There's a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Back to council for
Statement of consistency.
Mr. Mayor,
statement of consistency.
we got a notice today, I think it was from the North Carolina League of Municipalities, about some legislation that is currently in the state legislature that could render almost all of this mute. And so I just hope that, and I'm sure you are, speaking to our state legislators and senators to help
Weekly.
on this issue.
Daily.
Because if we lose ability to make these kind of decisions, we're in serious trouble.
That's a true statement. So we have a motion.
Mayor, I move we adopt the statement of reasonableness and consistency.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Anything else we've got to do with this?
Need a motion to approve the revisions.
A motion to approve the provisions. Okay. Motion is second. Ready to vote? All in favor? Raise your hand. Thank you very much. Okay, that is it for our public hearings. We move to presentations of petitions and requests. Number 1, consider adopting a resolution of intent and manner of closing the right-of-way of an unopened 15-foot wide alley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kevin went over this item with council on Tuesday evening at the work session. The request before you is to close the alley. In order to do that, a resolution must be adopted by council to set the public hearing for June 8th. That is what is in front of you this evening.
All right, is there a recommendation from council? We got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 2, consider amending allocation of $385,000 home funds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mary covered this item for council on Tuesday evening at the work session. This is to increase the home funds for the Coleman Mills project from the 385 of previously allocated money, 385,000 to 770,000. As Mary spoke to council on Tuesday evening, this will not impact any of the programming that is prepared for the home funds.
Okay. All right, council for recommendation.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to amend the allocation as stated.
And second. Very good. Council ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Item 3, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Bolton and Rents.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is for the Concord Mills, Bruton Smith mixed-use corridor plan. Kaylee presented this item to council on Tuesday evening. The amount of the contract in front of you with Bolton and Mink is for $158,870. We'd ask for your consideration of this matter this evening.
All right, thank you. The recommendation from council. Got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 4, consider adopting a resolution authorizing eminent domain action for permanent easements on 6 parcels on Zion Church Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city attorney went over this item with council on Tuesday evening. This is for eminent domain actions, if needed, for the easements for the water line on Zion Church Road. Those parcels are listed in your agenda item.
Right. Valerie, have anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
All right, so council for recommendation. Got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 5 was done on Tuesday night, Juneteenth celebration. Item 6, consider recognizing Overbrook Manor Homeowners Association.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Catherine discussed this item with council on Tuesday evening. This is a request to add the Overbrook Manor Homeowners Association to our Stronger Neighborhoods program for the city, making it number 76.
All right, is there a motion to approve number 76? We got a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 7, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract addendum with Woolpert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an addendum to the contract we currently have with Woolpert to provide the survey and design work to make the roadway improvements that were laid out in the TIA for the Jim Ramsor Parks. We'd ask that you allow us to move forward with that contract.
All right. Is there a motion from council?
I'll second that, but also, Mayor, the Ramseur family sends thank you for moving on this project as we go forward, and they're very appreciative.
Very good, yes. All right, we have a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 8, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Piedmont Asphalt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rick discussed this item with council on Tuesday evening, answered some questions that council posed. This is to resurface 6 tennis courts at Les Myers Park. The low bid was received from Piedmont Asphalt Paving Company in the amount of $494,670.
All right, motion from council. Got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Number 9, consider authorizing city manager to execute a contract with Create Bus Sales.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Andy went over this item with council, described the reasoning for this request. As he stated, the contract with Creative Bus Sales is something that the transit staff has been looking for a couple years now. The per vehicle cost is not to exceed $91,550. You can see the split between us and the city of Kannapolis. That's included in your agenda notes. We'd ask that you allow us to move forward with the contract.
All right, is there a recommendation from council? Got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Item 10, consider awarding a bid in the amount of $1,178,293 to Carolina Power and Signalization.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alex discussed this item with council on Tuesday evening. As you described, this is for a contract for the construction of Substation W, which will feed the Eli Lilly manufacturing facility.
All right, is there a motion from council? So moved. Got a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Number 11, consider approving a modification of interlocal agreement with Cabarrus County.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sue went over this item with council on Tuesday evening. This is to obtain water service for a proposed single-family home at 3868 Highway 200 for a Mr. Alan Montgomery. And so Sue described this, and the request would be to modify the interlocal agreement, which would also have to be agreed upon by Cabarrus County.
All right, is there a motion from council? Got a motion and a second, ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Item 12, consider approving a modification interlocal agreement with Cabarrus County.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very similar to the previous item, this is the same request for modification to the interlocal agreement. Address for a single-family home is 4040 Mills Circle for a Mr. Honeycutt. So if council would consider, again, this would have to go to Cabarrus County for their concurrence as well.
Okay. Motion from council. Got a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. We added item 13, the Concord United Committee appointments that you have in front of you. We had discussed that, our small group discussed that on Tuesday, added to the council meeting, and here for vote. Is there a recommendation from council?
Mayor, I move we appoint and reappoint the names as listed on the agenda item.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Got a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, thank you very much. Brings us to the motions, the items not on the agenda. Let me just go down through this, and then at the end, John would like to have a word with us. TAC, Transportation Advisory.
TAC did not meet last month.
Okay. MTC, I have nothing to add there. Central Atlanta Regional Council.
We met last night, no news to bring to you.
Okay, kind of CK Transit, we did have that meeting this week to talk about the small buses, so that's about all we have to answer. And Betty and John was online with Zooming in. One thing about that is that Kannapolis has requested to have LJ come up on a particular basis to talk about what's going on. And they'd like to also do a CK Transit 101 for their council. And after we listened to it, it made sense. So Lloyd has got that in works with the staff of it.
Mayor, is he presenting to the council who may not have been at that meeting about a year ago, all the options of?
No, this is
something
just
different.
General operation of CK
Okay,
Transit.
got it.
They want to be.
That'll be a 2-week course from LJ.
Right, I know. I thought he was.
I'm being nice, and I'm moving on to Water Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County.
I'll send you guys some updated photos that we got. I think Jeff's got a little bit of a update. I think in the photos where there was a lot of concrete that was poured, there were 250 trucks.
Jeez.
So I will send you the photos, and you'll be very impressed with the continued work. And again, Jeff and I understanding the need for urgency from a standpoint of all of the divisions and the 2024 and beyond. So.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Really, the only update I wanted to provide, the other sort of parallel project is obviously the master plan effort that's underway to study water and sewer availability looking into the future. I was invited to participate in a meeting last week on Task 4, which is water source availability, which is a big thing for us in our basin. So happy to report that project is well underway. I would say probably 3/4 of the way complete. There's some deliverables along the way that have already been complete. I did want to say though, the final completion of that document is probably slipping towards later in the calendar year. The wastewater loading model, we're up to 90 miles of Rocky River that are being studied. So that's a very extensive model to put together. But all those other timelines are being met. It's just that final deliverable will be delayed just a little bit.
Is that all downstream or is some of it upstream?
Some of it's upstream. We didn't want to not study a section that ended up being very valuable. So I believe we're going from from Mooresville almost all the way to Monroe. And if you know anything about Rocky River, there's a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs and lefts and rights. So again, about 90 miles of river, very, very extensive study. Thrilled with the work that that consultant has done. They have been fantastic, just awaiting some of those final evaluations.
Any questions?
Thank you.
We Build Concord. Dr. Graham.
All right, good evening.
Evening.
Just a few quick updates. Obviously, you all have heard of our first sale, 82 Phoenix, to a county employee. And I will say that our priority levels, when we actually decide who to sell those homes to, actually worked perfectly for this candidate. They met and checked off every box. And so I'm really pleased with that. So congratulations to you all as well for that. We also have 6 to 7 single-family homes. It looks like we have an estimated time of completion by, it looks like now, mid to late July. It will be possibly 7 instead of 6, but it really depends on the approval of one site where we are trying to split the lot for 2 townhomes. And if that goes through, then we'll be able to complete 7 by that period of time. The other is that the Lincoln Street request for proposals has been issued, and there's been an outreach event scheduled for May 18th. So you all will also be getting copies of that in your inboxes. And so we really want you to help spread the word to contractors, particularly local ones, to learn more about these opportunities. As soon as this is announced, then we'll be going into the official bidding process. And last thing I have for you is that I was not able to get Della a cake when she first came here to welcome you. So what we decided to do as part of our community development grant, we are going to give about $1 million, a minimum of $1 million to the City of Concord's Housing Department for the public housing repositioning project. And so we're happy that we're able to do that through a grant with HUD. And we also felt that it was some of the best use of those dollars, considering that we were trying to make changes in Lincoln and Logan. And so to actually change some of those units along with this one is a good thing. So with that, do I have any questions?
Any questions from council?
Question. I just wanted to publicly thank Patrick. When the league was in town several weeks ago, I reached out to Patrick from a colleague from Rocky Mount that we were in the ALC together, and he sat down with him, and he's quite a character. And he's spoken to me several times since then and thanked you for that, because that's one of the initiatives that they're taking on in Rocky Mount. And then the next day, I get a selfie from him and one of your board members that he's at your groundbreaking the very next day, so he stayed overnight to kind of be a part of that. So I just want to say thank you and really recognize the fact that we are absolutely treading the forward ground on this, and I really appreciate you being open to share that with other cities, because they're very impressed. So thank you.
Thank you. Turns out he was a fraternity brother of mine, so we kind of were able to chop it up that night.
Yeah.
No wonder he spent the night.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Concord United Committee? No report, except it'll be staffed up with. Fully staffed. The board. One thing I have to add is that, or 2 things to add. One is that there is a committee that's being formed dealing with commuter rail between Charlotte going up towards Greensboro. I'm on that committee, along with LJ will be part of it too. So we're really having trouble with the light rail and things like that, but this looks like it has a good chance of moving forward. So it keeps coming off the rails. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, using the current railway. And the other is that thank you all for your help with the North Carolina League of Municipalities meeting we had in Concord. It went fantastic. We're still receiving a lot of good feedback about about that event. So thank you all for being a part of that. John, you have something you want to share with us tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the audience for staying with us tonight. Suzanne, y'all didn't have to stay, but I appreciate you staying and seeing what we do monthly and during the course of the month, different phone calls, et cetera. But what I do want to say on a serious note is May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think some of us may know that, some of us may not. As a person firsthand dealing with PTSD issues, et cetera, you don't have to be a fireman, policeman, military member to have something in your family or something in your background that you deal with. But what I would urge everyone is, don't suffer in silence. Talk to someone. Call your doctor, call a friend, call your pastor, whoever it might be. And I bring that up because the timing is not very good. I have the opportunity to attend a celebration of life tomorrow for a 24-year-old that worked with me on my team that took his own life this past week. So I say that just that reach out to someone, okay? Talk to someone. We live in a tough society right now. There's trouble all around. If you buy into the news, you buy into what you see, what you hear, it's tough to get up every day. So reach out to someone. Don't suffer in silence. And that was just, I appreciate you helping me say that being May Mental Health Awareness Month. Just want to bring that up to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from council? Yes, Andy?
Oh, no, I'll say thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brian?
just one thing, I wanted to just say happy birthday to my 16-year-old daughter today. She is the smartest, most beautiful, and funniest girl in the world, and I just wanted to just give her a shout out and say happy birthday to my sweet Amanda
the record.
today. On the record. That's right.
All right, yes. And thanks to our officers for helping us each time. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And with that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Piece of paper back I gave you because I had a note on there I needed to.
Yeah, find it.
Find